What if I told you the treadmill sitting at your gym has a history so dark that it was once used to punish prisoners? Sounds made up, right? But it's true. The weirdest part is that the original version wasn't built to help people get stronger, lose weight, or live longer. It was built to make life miserable. And once you hear the full story, you'll never look at a treadmill the same way again. Think about it for a second. You wake up early, you drive to the gym, you pay a monthly membership, then you step onto a moving belt and run 3 miles without actually going anywhere. When you stop and think about it, that's kind of strange. Our ancestors would probably think we completely lost the plot. They only ran when they had a reason. Maybe they were chasing food. Maybe something was chasing them. Either way, every step had a purpose. Every calorie mattered. Now we run while staring at a wall, or a TV, or the countdown on a tiny screen. And somehow those 10 minutes can feel like forever. That feeling isn't just in your head. There's a fascinating reason why this machine feels so different from running outside. But to understand it, you have to go back more than 200 years. It's 1818 in England. The prison system has a huge problem. The government had stopped giving the death penalty for many smaller crimes, which meant prisons were filling up fast. Suddenly, there were thousands of inmates with nothing to do all day. Prison officials believed that was dangerous. They wanted prisoners working, staying busy, and most importantly, being punished. That's when a civil engineer named Sir William Cubitt came up with an idea. At first, it sounded practical. Build a machine that could keep prisoners working while also powering useful equipment inside the prison. But what he created became one of the most dreaded punishments of the 19th century. Forget everything you know about a modern treadmill. This thing looked nothing like the one at your gym. Imagine a giant wooden wheel standing upright, almost like a massive hamster wheel, except people walked on the outside instead of the inside. Thick wooden boards acted like steps. Prisoners climbed onto the wheel, and as they stepped down, the wheel kept turning beneath them. The only way to stay upright was to keep climbing. There was no start button, no stop button, no music, no water bottle, just step after step after step. Sometimes as many as 40 prisoners stood side by side on the same wheel, climbing together for hours. If someone lost their rhythm or their legs gave out, they could fall and get seriously hurt. Guards expected them to keep moving no matter how exhausted they became. The worst part wasn't doing it for 20 minutes. Prisoners could be forced to stay on that wheel for up to 10 hours in a single day. Imagine climbing stairs for an entire workday with barely any food, almost no comfort, and no idea when you'd finally be allowed to stop. The physical exhaustion was brutal, but what happened next made the machine even darker. At first, all that work actually did something useful. The giant wheel was connected to machines that ground grain, pumped water, or powered other equipment around the prison. That's where the name treadmill comes from. You tread or walk to turn a mill. It was hard labor, but at least there was a purpose behind it. Then, something changed. Some prison officials realized the work itself wasn't the punishment. The endless climbing was. So, in some prisons, they disconnected the treadmill from the machinery. The prisoners kept climbing for hours, but the wheel wasn't powering anything anymore. It just turned, day after day. The guards even had a name for it. They called it grinding the wind. Imagine giving everything you've got, knowing every step is leading absolutely nowhere. That wasn't an accident. It was meant to wear people down physically and mentally. Even the famous writer Oscar Wilde experienced the harsh conditions of Victorian prisons, though the treadmill became more closely associated with that era than with his personal story. By the end of the 19th century, the prison treadmill had earned such a brutal reputation that Britain finally banned it in 1898 because it was considered an excessively cruel form of punishment. So why does a modern treadmill still feel so different from running outside? Part of the answer is surprisingly simple. Your brain likes progress. When you walk through a park, hike a trail, or run through your neighborhood, your surroundings keep changing. You reach new places. You see something different around every corner. On a treadmill, your body is working hard, but your environment never changes. You stay in the exact same spot. For a lot of people, that makes the workout feel longer and more mentally exhausting, even when the physical effort is the same. Researchers have found that outdoor exercise often feels more enjoyable than exercising indoors. And that's one reason so many people find treadmills boring. Then came the late 1960s. Doctors and fitness experts started encouraging regular aerobic exercise to improve heart health. more people wanted a way to run no matter what the weather looked like outside. Engineers took the basic idea of the old prison treadmill, redesigned it completely, added an electric motor, better safety features, and turned it into a piece of fitness equipment. The purpose couldn't have been more different. One version existed to punish people. The other was built to help them exercise. Still, it's funny how history works. A machine that once symbolized punishment is now one of the first things you see when you walk into almost any gym in the world. Most people use it without knowing where the idea came from. So, the next time you're watching that timer crawl forward, wondering why 5 more minutes feels impossible, remember this. You're using a machine with one of the strangest backstories in history. Thankfully, the modern version is designed to improve your health, not to make you suffer. But once you know where it came from, it's pretty hard to look at a treadmill the same way again. If you enjoyed this story, stick around. History is full of everyday things with unbelievable origins. And once you hear them, you'll never see the world quite the same way.